Something I've been thinking a lot about recently is how much things have changed over the past 100 to 150 years regarding food, health, and diets. Today, people have absolutely no idea what people in the past used to do regarding their health, what they used to eat, and how they took care of themselves. Everyone who was alive back then is basically gone, so we have lost a lot of that knowledge. Now there are things that everyone thinks today are pretty normal, when back then they were not even existent or extremely rare. For example, did you know that food was local, scarce, and seasonal? And you weren't able to get fresh food shipped halfway across the world to a grocery store as you can now. Back then, most people grew or raised the food that they ate. And today, we barely see any of that going on. And maybe you knew this or maybe you didn't, but sugar really also wasn't a thing back then. Nothing was ultra processed and people would eat meat organs. Do you know anyone today who eats meat organs? Maybe the Liver King and Joe Rogan is all I can think of. So from the things that I listed, there are very few people who do all of those things today because everything has become so convenient and commercialized. Now, when it comes to diet and how people ate, that has also changed quite drastically. Now, I want you to take a guess at how often people ate within the span of a single day. Was it 3 meals and snacks in between? Not even close. On average, people mostly ate 2 meals a day. Once in the late morning or early afternoon, and then also at night after a long day of work. Wait, so these people weren't eating breakfast? Isn't it the most important meal of the day? Somebody should have told those people 100 years ago that they need to be eating breakfast because it's the most important meal of the day. We also know that snacking really wasn't a thing and that fasting was quite common. People would regularly go 12 to 16 hours without eating food on a normal day. Now, very few people can barely go a few hours without having some food in their system. So we went from having just 2 meals a day to now eating 3 to 6 or 7, depending on how many snacks you have throughout the day. Now, what about when it comes to health and medicine? Back then, people were moving regularly throughout the day, often walking miles without even thinking about it. Most people today have a desk job where they're inside and not moving around, and they barely get any movement throughout the day. And also because of these office and desk jobs, people are getting less sunlight because they're in an office all day and not getting the chance to go outside.